I think some conversations have been emotionally wrenching today. They've been upsetting, they've been depressing, they've been sad, but there are also many things to feel happy about. And one of them is what we're calling the freedom to love. And as you all know, the Supreme Court finally struck down that legislation that criminalized homosexuality, that actually criminalized consensual same-sex relationships. And one of the people who led the fight in the Supreme Court, one of the petitioners for this decriminalization, was Keshav Suri. And it's going to be wonderful to hear him along with his husband, Cyril Feuillebois, if we can have you on stage as well. Cyril, welcome. Hello. Please, come. Okay, you guys have mics. So we've really felt that after a day of many different emotions, we wanted to end on something that made us feel happy. And I think looking at the two of you makes us feel happy, right? It is such a wonderful moment. And there was this incredible moment. I think we have a video, don't we? We have a video? We have a video that we can play? We do have a little video that we're going to play for you in just a moment. There's some amazing images in that video. But Keshav, what made you take your fight all the way to the Supreme Court?
Wow. Hi, hello.
Yeah.
Hi. Okay. One of the reasons was the fact that I was with my husband for 10 years, and it's legal in France to get married. We're, of course, not even close to marriage equality yet.
Yeah.
But we both live in India. And one of the issues was, Barka, was that it's unfair that we've chosen to live here, and I have more rights in France than he does in India.
That's right.
And I think it might have been selfish and very individual, but it was basically a point that I wanted to show to us as a couple that we actually do live in a very inclusive country, and the Supreme Court has at least shown that to us.
And there's that incredible photograph of the two of you actually
pulling stunts.
Kissing outside the Supreme Court. I'm just actually wondering if we have that video ready. Can we have the video? Let's take a look at that video. I think we have a little bit of the snatches of that image in that video, if we can play. And that image at the end is the really beauteous one. And that's Cyril, I guess, when the judgment has just come out. Talk a little bit about that, because, you know, for you coming from another country, right, and having to deal with these archaic laws.
Well, you know, in France it was like this not such a long time ago. Homosexuality, the gay marriage is allowed in France for the last 5 years only. So I don't think
You don't think India's that far behind because
no,
France legalized gay marriage 5 years ago?
Okay. And I think it will even move faster here. If you ask me, I think it will really move fast from now, because the judgment we had at this Supreme Court was, I heard it as really the first pavement of many other equal rights coming for the population. I mean, we cannot discriminate like these people, you know. So I think it will go very fast now.
You think legalizing marriage could be next in India?
Yeah, for sure.
I love how easy you make it sound.
Yeah.
But Keshav, you know, it's all celebratory and wonderful now, right, Keshav? But it wasn't always like that.
No.
And in India, there's a certain level of hypocrisy when it comes to sexuality. And a lot of people would have told you also, Acha, it's okay, you can love who you want to. Why do you need to announce it?
Yes,
Why do
exactly.
you need to show it?
Yes.
Why do you need to legalize it?
Yes.
Don't ask, don't tell, right?
No, it was funny. I was told, don't wear your sexuality on your sleeve, and don't rub it in our face.
Yeah.
Constantly told that, but I rubbed it. I mean, you can't rub it. Sorry, I know, I'm just an awful person, but I had to. I've been a rebel always. My parents, I don't know why they haven't disowned me yet. But yeah, I mean, you don't rub it more when you're actually kissing on the Supreme Court's staircase.
Well.
No, but I think it's still important for people,
Yeah.
even though we have an equal law now, to understand the kind of social discrimination, how that kind of teasing or picking on people can start as young as school days,
Yep.
how boys especially are at the receiving end. They're made fun of for not fitting a certain
Yep.
imagined heterosexual notion of masculinity. So can you talk a little bit about how it was growing up for you in India, knowing you're gay and not maybe being able to come out initially?
So I was in St. Columbus.
Okay.
And
Boys' school?
Yes, all boys Catholic boys' school in Delhi. Shah Rukh Khan was from the same school. Just saying. Not hinting at anything. Not hinting at anything at all. Just
Cracking
before
the
that-
news.
Before that big headlines, so I'm not hinting at anything. No, but it was a day boarding. Of course, kids at boarding schools have it much worse. But I was name the slur I was given.
Name some of the slurs.
You want me to? I mean,
Well, some of the more nameable ones.
Ugh. Pansy.
Yeah.
Pansy was a word that I was told a lot. Queer was not a
Word then that was used.
It has changed now. Now the LGBTQ community has really turned, and that's what I love about the LGBTQ community, is that they take words like queer, and now it's the most positive word. Everybody is queer, right? Freak. I was called a freak a lot. And then I did something with Kiddy Sue where I came up with this hashtag, I'm a proud freak. As you know, in an all-boys school in the beginning, you're kind of given the parts, like I played Mother Mary, and I loved it. I loved every minute of it, because for me, drag is an expression, a way for me to pay homage to this really strong women in my life. For our wedding, I want to just say that only the women in my family came.
Oh, really?
My one brother-in-law, shout out to him, but the rest of it were all women.
Why?
in my
The men were
family.
too uncomfortable?
I don't know. Just saying. Well, my father's not anymore. So when I was growing up, I kind of started doing drag in school because earlier you were sort of given, you were electing, the teachers would select you, and then after that you could take it up on your own. So I continued till I was 16, 17. And it sort of became normal for me, but it also became normal for me to hear all of this stuff.
But when they would say these things to you, pansy,
Yeah.
and make fun of you and call you other abuses, does it, I think people don't understand what that can do to your sense of self or confidence at that point, especially if you haven't understood your own sexuality
Yeah.
fully.
I think it's even the same for women or for everything. Those words, for instance, people say, don't cry like a girl, don't be a puss, don't, all those things. But those things, they have their meaning, and slowly they are very corrosive somehow. You can hear those words, and after you feel unconfident, and it projects you in something that the other people want to project you in, but it is corrosive. There's nothing worse for a child to, for instance, you're on TV, and because this I remember, I was on TV, there was a gay pride in France, and my parents are looking at the gay pride, and they're like, oh my God, they're degenerated, and then in my head, I'm like, oh, not good to make your coming out, keep it for yourself. But then you make a bridge, and it's really stupid, because for their silly comment, that was not, and they're not even homophobic, but for their silly comment, they have created a gap.
It sticks with
And those little things, and it's the same for all those discrimination we have. There's a lot coming from words, and the words are powerful.
So I want
they
to
are
just
violent.
add to what you were saying. It kind of bothered me so much that before my father passed away, I came out to him. I came out to my family. I just thought it was important for me to come out.
Was that tough?
It was tough. It was very tough because he was, a very strong will. He had a killer sense of humor, like me, but he was strong. Yeah, it's true. He was very funny. I think, queer in his own way, by the way. And but a year later, he passed away. He had a heart attack in London. But I don't know, because of all this that was in my head, I kept on blaming myself for that heart attack.
You thought that you had shocked him.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Did he react very badly when he discovered?
No. It was in my head. But when you said that, when you hear these things when you're growing up, right? They play in your head. It was when I went to University of Warwick, but it's a little mini India there. That's when I realized who my father was and who my mother was, and then the weight of that on me. And then suddenly you need to be a lineage person, or you need to go and sit over there and continue marry and this and the other. All of that led me to come out because I had to. I could not take that burden.
But that must have been terrible burden as well to live with, to feel that somehow I told
Yes.
my father I'm gay. Did I cause this heart attack?
Yes.
Did I cause him to kind of lose his sense of calm? That must have been just terrible to
God, it
carry
was
with you.
Awful. It was awful for 2 years. I was still studying in SOAS. And I wish that there was a program like how there is now, the It Gets Better, a program that I'm also launching, my quick plug to my foundation.
No, but this is an important foundation because Keshav Suri is launching a foundation that's actually looking at life beyond 377.
Yeah.
And one of the things you're focusing on, and I want you to talk about that, and if anyone from the audience has a story to share about this, please do, about how difficult it is to actually find work. You know, in the morning we had somebody who's trans,
Yep.
and she drives a car now for Ola, but she said that she had to go through so many things. She did sex work, she did an MBA degree, she tried so many things, and she just couldn't find work. And then she finally managed to get a job driving an Ola cab. And your foundation is going to be looking at some of that. So
Yes.
speak about what you've picked up talking to people. And if anyone has a similar story to share, please do raise your hand and I'll call you.
So one of the things is that we want to create a sort of social media platform where we want people from the community to share their stories. So we want, like Cyril, also from different parts of the world and our marriage to talk about, because I wanted representation at that time. I wanted somebody to be like, you know what, you are not to blame for your father's death.
Yeah.
I wanted that. I also wanted to have that, and I wish I had that right now. And then beyond that, it is also how does life get better? And one of the things is skilling. So I myself in the hotels have over 10 trans team members.
And you always had them?
No, it's happened in the last 5 years. My spiritual awakening of doing something in my own company and also filing this writ other than my husband that was my spiritual and sexual awakening, was my husband, was when the Supreme Court had reversed the High Court's decision in 2013, the dark day in December. And that's when I took a call that I'm going to start with Kirisu, my nightclub, and then with all the employment. I got to mention one person, Parmesh, who's sitting over there.
Yeah.
Is another...
Parmesh, stand up. Hello, Parmesh.
Yes.
There you are.
So another person and another reason, a big round of applause, guys. I mean,
Yeah.
it's...
He did a fabulous session in the morning.
Yeah, and I went to Godrej Culture Labs and I sat with him and we signed up with the UN. But it was another eye-opener to see that other companies are doing that. And all of that led to this foundation.
And what are you doing in your own hotel right now?
So right now we've got over 10 trans team members. We've skilled over 35 trans. They're not working with us, but we've skilled over them. We do drag nights, and I have Maya, the drag queen, in the audience.
Where are you, Maya?
There's Maya.
We should ask her to do something for us.
We should. And Maya chooses whenever Maya wants to come as Alex, and Maya chooses whenever Maya wants to be Maya.
That's wonderful. Maya, you get to be two people at once. I'm jealous. Come, why don't you come up on stage and we'll have a little chat with you. But continue,
yes.
continue. Keshav.
And other than that, we've also got over 35 drag artists that are working across the country. I have to give a mention to Sonia, who is an acid attack survivor, transgender, by the way.
Is she here?
From Haidu. She's not here, but she is somebody that I personally took care of because her story, and even when Cyril heard that story of Sonia, at the age of 10, when she had to be a prostitute.
That's a very difficult path. Huh?
And then she was thrown acid upon after being gang raped.
My God.
Yeah. And then the police did not want to do anything about it because how can a prostitute say no?
Yeah.
That was the answer given to her. The person who's attacked her with acid is walking free.
Wow. We must follow that up because that's the thing that people just don't understand. Consent is consent, no is no. This doesn't get to be different rules because you're a sex worker. No, just sit. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
before I met Mr. Suri, I was working. Okay. I was actually like working in an NGO. I never got a chance to perform as a drag queen full time. Being in Bangalore, I started here way back in 2014. I have been performing in Humming Tree and various other places, but it was only once a month. I've lost a couple of jobs because I am a drag queen and I am a fully out and open gay man. It was during this time when Mr. Suri, also known as Keshav, actually called me. When he called me to Delhi and he said, you know, you've been performing so long, why don't you come and perform for us, for Kittyversary? That is when my, a lot of windows and doors just opened up. And I've been performing in Kittyco every Thursday, and if not performing, hosting.
Why did you lose jobs previously? What would happen?
Because they were not happy with who I am. They were not accepting the way I am. They couldn't see the fact that I could be Maya and Alex at the same time. And because my everything about me was on social media, and they were not ready
And they couldn't digest that.
Yep, they couldn't digest the fact.
And I want to just come back to, you've tried to make your policy inclusive. How have other corporates that you have to interface with, men in suits are often the biggest fuddy-duddies of all, right? How have you convinced the suits?
By dressing like this. Walking in the door purse first.
And I'm wearing a suit.
No, funny enough, Barkha, I went for this Niti Aayog's thing where it was by Amitav Kant, and there was a panel discussion of these young CEOs, and we were divided into like sort of groups. And I was on the last group called New India 2022, and I kept on pushing the LGBTQ agenda, and everyone was like hearing, and they were like nodding, and they were like sure, yeah, but they were not going to say anything. This is before Section 377 verdict.
Yeah.
And then I kept on pushing it, nothing happened. And then finally, the panel happened, and it's on YouTube, so you can check it out. I get up when they're saying questions, and I actually get up and say, how can the private sector mainstream the LGBTQIA community, which is the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and of course, it was a panel like this. No, but it was very funny. You had one person look at the other person, look at the other person, till the last person did not know where to look because it was just air. And but the last person answered it beautifully. And there was a pan on Prime Minister's face also. And poker face, I got to say. But it kind of made me, realize that day how, people clamp up, especially corporates.
Yeah.
But now, and then after that is when I met Parmesh.
Parmesh, yeah.
And then I realized that, but no, there is the life like Parmesh. There are people like Parmesh who've been working at it with corporates for years. And now I think that corporates have sort of started posting and tweeting about love wins and love for all and
so
stuff.
there is this is actually, according to me, one of the most successful social and civil rights movement in India. It is actually the people leading the movement, people like yourselves who chose to fight. Quick last words from you. I'll start with you. How has your family responded?
So it's gone from my mother telling me not to do drag to my mother actually packing my suitcase and, with saying that this is not the lipstick color you should be wearing. So to that point. So it's a really good change. And also to recently when my grandmother saw me in newspaper, she just screamed out saying that he's a lesbian. And then after 2 days, he was like, you're my favorite grandson and all of that stuff. So yeah, we've gone
So families go through their muddled way.
Yes.
Cyril, from the outside looking in, you're saying we're not that far behind, but it's taken us years to get to this point.
Yeah, it did.
Has it been difficult for you having to be, in a relationship with Keshav at a point when you could be regarded as a criminal in this country till not so long ago?
Yeah, I would say even with my family-in-law at the beginning, it was not that cool. And well, 10 years later, only 10 years later. Only, and I'm 20, so.
No, he's joking. He's joking. Joking. Okay, we don't want to know. Too much information.
No, yes, it takes time, but I feel that now it's moving, it's moving
the right
really
direction.
fast, and India has to go on the same page. Now, the world is going that direction, or India stay behind, and then you lose some talent, you lose some people, you lose some business, you lose some tourism, you lose a lot.
Yeah, and you lose your sense of equality, the principle of equality and the right to love and the right to privacy.
That's the thing. You need to align also with what's happening now
In the world.
In the world.
I agree. And Keshav, last word to you. This judgment, it was a personal battle for you. You're one of the 5 petitioners who brought this law to India, and we applaud you for that. But as you said, you carried many internal demons with you to get to this point. Have those demons been exorcised today? Have you let go of those demons? Do you feel your father smiling down on you somewhere today? Have you stopped blaming yourself for him dying?
Oh my God, your Barbara Walters, you're going to make me
I
cry,
am
Martha.
better than Barbara
Oh, you're
Walters.
much better than Barbara
Yes.
Walters. How dare I compare you?
dare you?
How dare
How
I compare
dare you?
You should just slap me. It's going to be his 12th
Anniversary.
yes, on the 10th of October. And this is something that I've been thinking about for the last week. Because I don't know why is it that one day we look, and then start reminiscing. And I think he would be proud. Because one thing is that my father he was queer from like a mile away. And I think that he was determined. He had this self-determination to be somebody, to not be in the shadows. And I think that kind of trickled down on, that megalomania kind of trickled down into me. But I gotta say that, you are a huge inspiration in what you have done, because the media has played such an important role in this. You have been doing this for years. I've come in now.
But you've had to live it and live with, in a sense, it actually directly impacting your life. So your cost is...
Yeah, but you did it at a time when nobody wanted to talk about it, and you know that. And there are people like, yes, it's true. And Anjali Gopalan from NAS Foundation, and yes, a huge clap for Anjali Gopalan, because that's how this conversation started. And the lawyers like Menika, Arundhati, and Neha, and you did it when it was not cool. Suddenly, yes, now conversations
now
are
it's
happening.
easy. It's the new normal in a way for people who are now willing to do all the hashtags. But 15 years ago, nobody was willing.
So for us, or for me, it was you and Anjali and all of these people that showed me that it does get better. And that's why we're sitting.
What next? What next, Keshav? Life beyond 377. What next?
Husband number 2, 3, 4, 5.
Alimony.
Well, I think it's been lovely, Keshav. And more power to you, especially for making your hotel policy inclusive, for fighting the personal as the political. I think nothing signifies the personal being the political as much as this fight that people like you have led all the way to the Supreme Court. Parmesh, where are you? On behalf of We the Women's Advisory Board, we'd love to present Keshav, Suri and Cyril with the Her Award. Can we have the award, our special award for the freedom to love? For fighting for the freedom to love. Let's have a giant round of applause. A giant round of applause for this.